What's going on, you all? It's Michelle here, and welcome back to another episode of Vintage Glamour. So what is going on, you all? Today on Vintage Glamour, we're going to be discussing why personal style does not matter. Now, this is a notion that I have been seeing a lot on social media. People have been discussing the fact that personal style simply does not matter, how it does not express your entire identity, and how oftentimes it does not express anything about you at all. Now, I have a different take on this perspective that I really want to share. And I really think that my perspective will really liberate the mindsets of a lot of people and really help people understand that personal style is indeed powerful, especially when you view it in that way. So without further ado, let's dive into the topic for today. So our perception of fashion is going to determine how we view fashion and also how we use it. So what I mean by that, whatever lens you choose to view fashion through is going to determine the way you view fashion and the way you view style. It's going to determine how you use it. For example, there are some people that view fashion as just simply clothes. They get dressed and that is it. There are other people that view fashion as a way to fit in with a certain group or to showcase an identity that they may not currently have, but they aspire to have, or to fit into mainstream trends. And other people view fashion as a form of self-expression and essentially a form of art. So the lens that you choose to view fashion through is going to determine how you view fashion, and it's going to determine how you view style, and it's going to also determine how you use it. So I view fashion as a way for me to express who I am. So I view fashion through the lens of self-expression. I view fashion through the lens of art, and that is how I choose to use it. So my question to you is, what lens do you view fashion through? And whatever way you answer the question is fine. The only reason why I'm asking you all that question and want you all to answer it is for you to really understand that the lens that you choose to view fashion through is going to determine the way you use it. So if someone doesn't see fashion as a way for them to express who they are, or if they think personal style simply does not matter, then that means that they view fashion through a completely different lens. They're not viewing fashion through the lens of self-expression and through the lens that this is a form of art. And it's okay whatever way anybody chooses to view fashion. But I'm here to explain to people that if you decide to view fashion through the lens of self-expression and to view fashion as a form of art, how liberating it can truly be. When I was a freshman in high school, I initially viewed fashion as a way for me to fit in with the crowd. I viewed fashion as a way for me to fit in. And I felt lost, completely lost in what I was wearing. I knew that what I was wearing was not expressing who I truly was. So I changed my lens. And in return, I also decided to find my own personal style. And now, because of that decision, I view fashion through a self-expressive lens. I view fashion as a way for me to express who I am. Now, I understand that fashion is not going to express every nitty-gritty bit and piece of my identity, but it will showcase pages of my book. My personal style will indeed showcase to the world pages of my own story. And that is the liberating aspect right there. When you're able to showcase pages of your very own story with what you wear, instead of assimilating to other people's pages, instead of assimilating to the crowd and losing yourself along the way. And being able to represent your very own story with what you wear is what makes personal style liberating, is what makes personal style so powerful. Because we live in a world where individuality is not embraced. We live in a world that makes people feel afraid to be who they really are and to express who they really are, or to even figure out who they really are. So when you're able to showcase pages of your very own story with what you wear, that is powerful. It really is. And it does something to you. It is really liberating. Another argument that people have been bringing up regarding personal style not mattering at all is the fact that fashion brands promote a specific fantasy or character prototype to their consumers, and that consumers are not striving to find their personal style, but they're striving to fit that prototype and to fit into that fantasy world that their favorite fashion brands have created. Now, this is indeed true that many fashion brands do create a fantasy world and a prototype that they want their consumers to aspire to achieve. At the same time, if we inspire people to find their own personal style and to realize how liberating it can be, they would focus more on achieving their personal style and less on fitting into this fantasy world. They would still shop at their favorite fashion brands, but they would shop with a different mindset. They wouldn't shop with the mindset of trying to fit into the fantasy world or trying to fit into any character prototype. They would instead come with the mindset of incorporating styles that they like from that fashion brand into their very own fashion world. They would focus more on their very own fashion world and on their personal style instead of trying to fit in to this fantasy world that the fashion brand has promoted to them. Now, to wrap this up, I understand that a lot of people get completely turned off when it comes to the whole personal style discussion. There are many people that really want to discover and embrace their own personal style, but at times what stops them is the fact that they feel like this is just too much. This is just too much pressure. You're telling me to do this, you're telling me to do that, you're telling me it matters, you're telling me it doesn't matter. This is what I'm going to tell you all. Don't be hard on yourself when it comes to achieving your own personal style. You are free to be. You are free to be yourself. You are free to express yourself. You are free to discover new aspects of who you are. You are free to change. You are free to grow. You are free to wear whatever you want to wear. You are free to have many different style aesthetics. You are free to express your individuality. You are free to be. You are free to be you. And I really hope that people understand that. You are completely free to be here. And when you understand this freedom that you have when it comes to expressing who you are through your personal style, you're not going to feel so hard on yourself. Achieving your own personal style shouldn't make you feel so hard on yourself at all. Always remember that you are free to be. And this is what makes personal style so liberating, is the freedom to be, the freedom to express different pages of your very own story, the freedom to express who you are without even having to speak. And if there's anything I really want people to take away from this episode, is the freedom to be. And so with that being said, you all, I really hope that you all enjoy this episode of Vintage Glamour. My mission with this episode is just to share a different perspective. I'm not coming down at anybody's perspective on this because, as I stated, the lens that you choose to view fashion through will determine how you see it and will determine how you use it. So I can't come at anybody for viewing fashion in a completely different lens than I view it. But I can inspire others to view fashion the way that I view it. And I hope that this episode inspires people to do just that, to use fashion as a way for them to express who they are. And with that being said, you all, as always, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Vintage Glamour, and I hope you all have a great one.